there's a little ditty going on the Sony side of things.
What the hell is a ditty?
I don't know. I know there's a Diddy Kong, but anyways, there is a Diddy Kong. Okay, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Game Wild. Technically, this would be, I guess, episode, 20?
This is 20,
because we kind of skipped last week.
We should label it 21 and just have the lost episode of episode 20.
The lost episode of episode 20.
And we have that 17 minutes that we can use, so we'll upload it like a year from now, like the lost episode.
Right. Like,
that
here's
we
the
ever
lost
heard.
episode, and the reason why was because I only recorded 17 minutes somehow, or at least was only translating the raw data. Anyways, guys, welcome to the podcast. If we're gonna episode 21, hey, guess what? We legally can drink now. How about that?
Hey.
Our podcast can legally drink. Episode 21. So let's start off with the fact that we want you guys to get on the podcast, subscribe, like, 5 stars, all that fun stuff. But hey, guess what? We are gonna dangle a little cherry in front of us to get you to do that. So, on the podcast that never happened, we thought it would be a good idea to give away a copy of a game. This game was Monster Train, or is Monster Train, I should say, and we reviewed it in the lost episode that you'll never be able to find because we lost all the data. But it's an excellent game. It's a lot of fun. It's a roguelike RPG. And so we were so pumped about it. We're like, hey, let's get one of these copies and give it away. So we're going to buy it and then gift it to someone on Steam. So please note that if you are not a friend of myself or Shit Just Works, you will have to get a friend request from us, and then it takes 2 days. And then from there, we can give it to you. So just keep that in mind if you guys do decide that you want to enter this contest/giveaway. So if you do follow Shit Just Works' YouTube channel, we did post the giveaway instructions on his YouTube channel. So I would say go and take a look at that so you're not bogged down, because we know you just want to get down to the nitty gritty with us and hear us banter about video games. But yes, you will have to review and subscribe to our YouTube channels, and you will also have to give us a review and a rating on the podcast app, iTunes preferably. So please do that, and then you have a chance to win a copy of Monster Train valued at $24.99 USD. So
It's valued. I did. Thanks for clarifying the USD there, just in case anybody was on the Euro train.
Hey,
there.
I did actually. I gotta say, I did some analytics looks, and we do have some people who listen to us from other countries. So
yes.
It's not uncommon that could be the case. And if somebody from the other side of the world wins, we will work it out and see how that's going to go, because I assume you can just gift with anyone. So
yeah, you can. I actually, and it's funny you say that. I actually have a lot of people on my YouTube channel that are from Venezuela. Randomly. So nice. For all you Venezuelan listeners out there, definitely leave us a review. We can give you that free copy of Monster Train.
Absolutely. So with that being said, we've gone through the giveaway. Let's talk about the question of the week this week. And the reason this question of the week is what it is because we found another random, crazy, like top 20 or 20 games that were randomly made that you may have not played. And it's a genre. It's the fighting genre. So we decided to say, for the question of the week, what is your favorite fighting game series? So SJW, what do you got?
Oh man, there's so many. Like, we were talking about eventually doing like a favorite RPG as well as question of the week, and this is probably right up there with like having a lot of different options. I'm gonna have to go with, and this is probably unpopular opinion, because again, there's like Soul Calibur, so good, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. I'm gonna have to go with the original Dragon Ball Z Budokai.
Oh wow, okay. All right.
Yeah, because mainly for me, I think it's more of a nostalgia thing, and I remember when, I think it was PlayStation 2 that it originally came out on.
I believe that is correct, yes.
Yeah, and I just, at that time, there was really no good Dragon Ball Z fighting games, and that was like, it was huge back then. And the thought was it's going to compete with things like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. And now, Dragon Ball Z, or Dragon Ball Fighter Z, is actually a very competitive fighting game that is on par now with the likes of Street Fighter, Soul Calibur, Mortal Kombat. So it did eventually get there. It might not have been Budokai, but Budokai was the beginning of that train. So
the start of the train.
Yeah, very, very happy when that came out. Very nostalgic feeling. Awesome. Because at that time, too, Dragon Ball Z was in its prime, I think. Like, as far as the show was concerned, it was still finishing out, like, the Kid Buu saga. And everybody was just so soup to have a fighting game come out. So, yeah, definitely great time in my life back then.
You know, I gotta say, I missed the 5 episodes of someone just powering up. It was really nostalgic.
That's like the go-to shit on Dragon Ball Z. Everybody who knows anything about Dragon Ball Z is just like, oh, is that show where there's like 6 episodes of nothing happening where people just scream? Yeah, that's the show.
Exactly. Listen, but it's a lot of fun. I love the show. For me, I'm gonna go with something that's a little bit, you know, on the nose to say.
I know what you're gonna say. I know.
Originally, I would have said back in the day, like if I was just a young kid, I probably would have said Street Fighter. But after I've grown up and I've played tons of different fighting games, and you'll actually find out that I've played a decent amount of games on this list, but that we're gonna be talking about later. But it's Mortal Kombat.
Duh. If anybody listened to the previous podcast episodes where he was talking about Mortal Kombat, yeah, that's just a dead giveaway.
Yeah, and I think it's because they've really focused on a story-driven scenario, and I feel like even though there are semi-stories with like games like Street Fighter, Tekken's starting to get into the realm of really storytelling and stuff like that, it's just they do it right where you're immersed in these characters. You have some feel for them, and yes, there really isn't any like loss that you have to worry about because they always try to figure out a way to get the characters back in some form. So, but you do get, I do feel like it's like a series where you're engaged with all the characters, and I actually have to say that even though I spent $40 on Aftermath, I have yet to play it. I haven't had any time.
Oh, come on.
But I have it. I've actually played more Monster Train.
So you even spent the money. You gave it and spent the money, and you still have it. You know, not for nothing, Monster Train's really good. So I do. It think is,
and that's where I've been putting it. But I do want to say that I am going to take some time and play it soon. So with that being said, we've answered our question. The question of the week is now on you, the listener. What is your favorite fighting genre of all time? Please leave a comment or send us a message and let us know, and maybe we will announce what your game was next week on the podcast.
Oh, we definitely will. We definitely will.
Whoa. What about natural segues? Speaking of announcements...
Dude, you're just like so good at the segues. I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know.
Big announcements coming.
There's a little ditty going on the Sony side of things.
What the hell is a ditty?
I don't know. I know there's a Diddy Kong, but anyways, there is a Diddy Kong.
All right, what's the ditty? Give us the Skippy on the ditty.
Let's get the ditty, not P Diddy, guys, not the P Diddy. PlayStation 5 is announcing some cool stuff on June 4th. We will have a link to all these articles in our notes, but and this one comes directly from the PlayStation blog because you and I have discussed in the past about talking about content in regards to Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5, and there's a lot of regurgitated information that just has different words in it, but it's the same BS. But this is not. This is directly from the PlayStation blog, where on June 4th, 2020 at 1 p.m. 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern time, they will be making some announcements for the PlayStation 5. They have said that there will be video game, announcements. There'll be some gameplay.
So excited! I can't wait.
You just hurt some people's ears. I can already tell. So we apologize. Don't drop us to a 4-star for that.
I'm so excited though. And this news came out 2 days ago. It came out 2 days ago.
Yeah, this is new news, and so if you haven't heard yet, you heard now. PlayStation 5 announcements coming June 4th.
Mm-hmm.
You can stream it on Twitch and YouTube, they're saying. But if you check in the blog, we'll have the links, I believe, and stuff like that. So just keep an eye on that blog post, and they'll probably link it in there. I am torn on if they are going to be announcing the price point and the release date, because I feel like they could announce one of them, and if they announce one of them, it would be the price point. But typically when announcements like this could happen, they probably package the two. They say, coming on November 22nd, 2020, you will now be able to own a PlayStation 5 for the price of $499.99, or $499 they'll probably say. And I still believe that it's going to come in at $500. Do I hope they do an announcement? Yes. I hope they announce both. Now, why am I hopeful for that? Or why do I want that? I'll tell you. One, because it's going to kick Xbox in the butt to be like, hey, you guys need to get on this, because the PlayStation has announced all their stuff, and it's going to be huge. Now, whether that happens or not, I don't know. Typically, like we've been stating, if E3 were to have happened and this COVID stuff wasn't going on, all this stuff would have
both presented all the info.
There would have been a presentation. There would have been at the end, guess what, guys? November 2020, $499, pre-orders happening in 2 days or whatever. Then they would announce you can go to your local retailer and pre-order it for this amount of money.
I do think they're going to announce all of it. I really do, because on the picture, like, of the announcement on the blog, they have a picture of the controller, and to me that represents, okay, this is the system. It's everything to do about the system. We already gave you the controller. Here's the rest of it. So, and unpopular hot take, I'm going with $449. I think $449 is going to be the price point, and I think if they do come in at $449, that's going to be a huge bolster in their ammunition against Xbox, and actually being able to overtake them a little bit in this price war back and forth that we keep talking about. So I'm going with a $449. I guess we'll see who's right. We're going to play prices right here on the PS5.
Well, I'll tell you that I don't think it's unpopular to say it's cheap. It's going to be cheaper. I think most people want it to come in.
Well, versus what it'll actually do. Like, I think they'll actually come in at $449. It's not just that I want it at $449. I think they'll actually come in at $449, because I think that the Xbox and the PlayStation, they're basically the same system spec wise. Like, there's nothing that either person on either team is going to say that's going to convince me that one of them is going to perform better than the other at this point. I think we're past that. I think that was so 2008. I think that was, or 2007 when the PS3 came out. That was the last spec war that we're going to have. Now it's just about content, about the platform, the operating system. Is the UI going to be the better UI over Xbox or vice versa? So that's the focus now, and I think that because the specs are similar, I think that the parts and everything taken into consideration, I think $449 is going to be a price point where they might just like break even on it or barely make any money on the sale of the system, but you're not trying to really sell the system, you're trying to sell the content now and what's on the system.
Yeah, just to let you know, that's kind of always been how the consoles have been made. There's been super thin margins on consoles.
No, I know. So, I just think that in the past, like PS2, even PlayStation 2, and PlayStation 3, all of those eras, everybody was always so focused on putting the specs of each system up against each other. And now I just think that it's so irrelevant because of how on the same level everybody is now, that now everybody has to focus on the content and everything like that. Yeah, I know the margins have always been small. I just think that they're going to make it as small as possible just to get the system into everybody's hand again. So I do think $449 is where they're going to come in at.
That's fair. Like I said, I've always been ranging between $399 and $499, but I really think they're going to come in at $499. And it's going to be interesting, because then that's going to be like, now the ball's in your court, Xbox. What are you going to do? Microsoft's time to step up.
They're going to have to. They'll announce something after that. Yeah.
There's been talks about an Xbox thing in July that they've been really pumping up.
July? Wow, okay.
Yeah, in July. I think they do one every month, but they're really focusing on the July one. So I don't know if this is going to change their strategy and push up their stuff, because I think PlayStation coming onto the gate first is really going to give them some strength, especially if not only are they willing to announce it, if they can get the pre-orders started right away, that turns this game into a new situation where companies are getting the ability to pre-order these products now, and Microsoft's not even there yet, and they could possibly get a 30-day jump on these guys if that's the case, and that would be a very strong strategy in my opinion.
Well, okay, I was actually just going to mention, so you think it'd be a strong strategy to actually announce info first as opposed to last? So I was going to say, I mean, with how long Sony has waited out giving information, like Microsoft has definitely given more as of now about stuff beyond the specs. Like Sony just really delved into the specs, and I think that, I don't know, I feel like having the last word at this point might be an advantage, depending on, I mean, because at the end of the day, they could change the price last minute too, right? Like if Sony, well, why not? I mean, in all reality, somebody at the very high end level corporate can make the decision to change the price if they really wanted to push it.
All right. Well, if Microsoft wanted to do that, if say in the theory that we have, and listen, guys, this is all hypothetical stuff. We don't have any insider knowledge.
The meeting is happening on Thursday, though. That's not hypothetical.
That's not hypothetical. But our conversation right now about this price war. So listen, here's the deal. I've been in the industry. I know how it works, and you're right. There is some possibility that could happen, but we're in a different type of world right now. And they want to say that COVID hasn't affected the price point, but it's definitely affected the manufacturing of it. Who knows how many consoles are going to be out there? I think for those who are hungry and want to get a next gen system, they're going to be they want to be on the ground floor of one of the two. Everybody on Sony's side is going to buy one, right? But when you have that consumer who's considering their options, they may just jump and say, hey, let me get an Xbox. I mean, let me get a Sony PlayStation 5 because it's out or it's pre-orderable and I can protect my, thing.
Well,
so
there's also the announcement of the release date. Like, well, so that's a good point too.
But you can't have pre-orders without a release date for the most part.
No, what I'm saying is, like, let's say Sony announces a release date of November 1st. Or sorry, let's say December 1st. And then Microsoft, they have a month until their meeting. Now they can go, hey guys, we were gonna release on December 8th. Why don't we push it up to like November 20th? Right? Just to get that jump, because that's another advantage.
Yeah, well, sometimes logistics don't work like that, though. They might not have the ability to move.
Well, especially now with coronavirus.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they had a date in mind probably, 6 months ago. They probably had a date in mind, and whether that changed only because of production, that would be the only thing. But what I can tell you is, I think the first person to market is going to get the lion's share.
Oh, yeah. That's why I mentioned that, yeah.
You have everybody here. No, but not even that, Justin. I'm not even talking about the fact that you'll get it first. But if you have to wait a month between knowing when the Microsoft Xbox Series X is coming out.
Oh, you say with the announcement.
You might just jump the gun and pre-order the PlayStation 5.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
And then maybe you buy both. But in the end of the day, somebody who's hankering for something, if you just say everything even, and then we're just talking about content.
I agree.
People might jump on the Sony bandwagon first because there has been a lot of... I don't want to say first-party developers, but I'm sure there are some that are owned by Sony, like Microsoft just swallowing up every developer they can get. But at the end of the day, the PlayStation has the ability to say, here's this great first developer content that's only going to be on the PlayStation 5. These are the launch titles, and you can get it for the price of $4.99 or whatever on November 20th or December 1st or whatever you want to say. People are going to be like, you know what? With so much uncertainty in the world right now, if this
I'm going to jump on this now. Yeah.
Let me jump on it now.
And I think you're right too, because if they do pre-order it, like, let's say you got to figure both release dates are going to be within like a 45-day period, no matter what. So
absolutely. I would doubt it'd be 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think people are worried about, oh, well, the Xbox is coming out 3 weeks before Sony. Like, I'll just wait the 3 weeks because I can pre-order the PlayStation first. So yeah, I think you're right, especially with the coronavirus. If they have the ability to pre-order the PlayStation first before the Microsoft Xbox, Now it's in a situation where, yeah, they are just pre-ordering it because, oh my God, if I don't pre-order it now, I'm never going to get this because of the Rona, right? So, actually, that's a very good point. And I think that I wonder if they announce a date that they can do pre-orders, I wonder if that will affect, because I feel like a pre-order date, going live for pre-orders is easier to change than a release date or a price point. And they don't even need to have a date, right? It's like, let's say Microsoft's meeting is a month later in July and Sony releases that, okay, June 10th, you can start pre-ordering. Microsoft could just come out and be like, hey, surprise, we're going to allow you to start pre-ordering on the 10th as well. And they don't need a date as long as they could just say, okay, we can take your money. It won't matter, right?
Well, there's an interesting piece to be said of that, because going into that, there has been a pre-order page created
for Xbox?
For the Microsoft Xbox Series X. There's nothing on it in regards to an actual date or anything like that, but the fact that they've already prepped a page for it shows that it's close.
Yeah.
That it's close to happening, and maybe it will happen in June.
Maybe it'll happen
July.
Because Sony announces that they're going to happen
exactly,
too. So.
Because listen, you're playing this game of who's first, who's second, who's third, blah blah blah. At the end of the day, you have your core people. You're just trying to grab the people who will either want to get multiple systems like you and I, or the casual gamer who's like, listen, I have one system to buy. Which one is it going to be? And then all those factors are going to be played into, price point, time of release, things like that. So my guess, we're going to be getting a PlayStation 5 announcement, hopefully on Thursday, with a date, a price point, and a pre-order time. And then they're going to be like, your move, Microsoft.
All right, so let's switch the topic here. I feel like we are constantly talking about PS5 and Xbox. So,
that's the top of mind stuff, brother.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. For the next 6 months, that's all anybody's going to talk about.
Give the people what they want. They want Xbox and PlayStation 5 stuff.
Well, apparently, another segue, Jeff Bezos wants to start making games. So
no, he did.
Well,
and he
yeah,
failed
and he
miserably.
Did. Yeah, and that's, listen, we've been talking about it on the last couple of streams, actually, because I think it was it 3 weeks ago that we first announced, like, okay, Crucible's coming out this week,
yes.
I think.
Yes.
And we're like, oh my God. And then I realized in explaining to you guys what the game was, as I usually do at the end of these streams with the upcoming games, I was like, wait a second. This is made by Amazon Games. This is a thing. So I looked into Amazon Games, found that they had a website with actually 3 games right now. It was like Crucible, some other random game, and some Pac-Man remake. And I was like, wow, this is interesting. Amazon's trying to get into gaming. Maybe this will be good, or it could fail miserably. And it's looking like it's the latter. So very unfortunate for Amazon. Jeff Bezos, in the article that I found from Business Insider, looks very confused on his face in this picture. And I want to say it's because Amazon's in over their head for once. And there's not too many times where people can actually say that. Maybe, I don't know, maybe that's kind of a hot take on my part as far as saying that about Amazon. But I don't think Amazon has the knowledge or just the structure in place to actually be successful at making games right now. I mean, listen, they're a huge company. You can sit there and say they can just throw money at it and make it work, right? Which honestly, I'm surprised that didn't happen. But Crucible, which is the game that was supposed to be like the flagship game, it seems like. I don't think it's been stated anywhere, but it very much looks like that's their first game that they're really banking on, trying to pull people into Amazon games. This game supposedly, on May 20th was launched. That's not supposedly, that did happen. But supposedly was in development for over 5 years. And I know, Joe, you were reading something. I think it was maybe the last podcast we brought it up again, and you saw some like reviews on Crucible, and they didn't, it seemed like the game was not fully developed or something like that from what they were saying. It just seemed like lackluster, right?
Yeah, exactly. It was just from some of the, what I did was I went on Steam and I just looked at some people's reviews on Steam of the game, and there was just a lot of negativity about things. And listen, it's a free-to-play game, number one. Let's get that off the top right there. If you didn't know, or if you haven't heard about our conversations about Crucible, it is free-to-play, so it is of the ilk of an Apex Legends, a Fortnite type situation. So It's just they need to learn from their mistakes here, kind of like how EA needs to learn from their mistakes in regards to some of their games that they came out with that have failed miserably. You know, it's like this. It's just you need to be able to learn from these mistakes. I do believe they have the ability to be a good gaming developer, but it takes time, and this is a lesson that needs to be learned, and they're going to learn it from a free-to-play game, which, from the looks of it, 2 days in, had less than 5,000 people playing it.
That's what I was just going to... All right, so let me read this excerpt quick, because this is when games first hit Twitch. Like, we've just been playing Monster Train, right? And Monster Train is very much a smaller community game. Like, it's by no means meant to be like this huge hit, S-tier game that millions of players worldwide play. It's just a nice game. It's $25. There's a certain segment that they're, trying to sell it to, like us who love, roguelike games, and it's going to do decent. Crucible was meant to be like this free-to-play game that competes with like Overwatch and all these competitive games and stuff like that. And here is what Business Insider has to say about its release, which was, again, May 20th. So May 20th it released. And Business Insider says, as of May 21st, the day after it launched, Crucible had around 25,000 concurrent players at peak, which is pretty big. And I imagine that's probably pulled from Twitch. By May 22nd, which, if you guys can count, sometimes I cannot, so I understand, that's 2 days now after the launch, it had already disappeared from Steam's top 100, a list of most played games on Steam that bottoms out. So that means the 100th game on that list bottoms out at around 5,000 concurrent players. So it dropped from 25,000 to 5,000 concurrent players. And that's not like... That's like playing the game overall. And that's insane. Like, you have millions that play Call of Duty every day, just to put it in perspective. So that's like a top tier game. So 2 days after launch, fewer than 5,000 people were playing Crucible at any given time. That is a miserable failure. Like, most games will at least stay at big numbers for like a couple weeks just because they're new. And you got to figure Amazon's a hell of a company that they must have marketed the hell out of it. So I don't. Well, it was just terrible. It was bad.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna say no to that because we didn't find out about it until we did our lookup. And let's also state that this is a multiplayer game, so you're looking at less than 5,000 people playing it, which means you're going to be in what we like to call queue hell. Which is when you're waiting for a match to start because you need more online players to be on the other side or on your team, and you can't get a full group because, well, no one's playing the game.
And just as I just want to mention this too, Twitch right now, 245 viewers playing Crucible, which is really bad. that's really bad. So
that's how many people are watching it, but how many streams are there?
Well, there's actual there's if I were to like 4, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, there's like 34 streams.
Okay.
Which is also pretty low in comparison to even like Monster Train.
Fortnite.
Yeah.
Let's bring the king of the castle in, and the Fortnite's probably got like
thousands,
hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah.
So there you go, guys. Amazon Games has not driven to the point where it wants to be, which kind of sucks. But you want to know what? They can't run everything, right?
No, yeah. Well, I'm actually almost... Is it bad that I'm kind of glad that they failed on that front? Like, I feel like they're doing everything else on the planet. I feel like it would just be, like, not cool to also have them be like, okay, guys, now we're also going to get a part of the video game pie, even though we already sell pretty much every video game on our website as is, but now we're going to develop them all as well. Like, I feel like it's a little too much, you know? So, I don't know. Hopefully they make a good game at some point.
Yeah.
I'm always down for a good video game.
I just want to, spawn creativity. So I'm okay if they try to work it out. As long as they learn from their mistakes and they try to get better, that's what's important. Yeah. They have enough money to get over that hump, which some other companies, unfortunately, have not been able to do and have caused some massive issues. And
those companies go bankrupt typically.
Yeah, I mean,
Amazon's not going to go bankrupt anytime soon.
No. But not to talk about something that's a little personal, but I know that you may remember this, but a long time ago. Well, not even that long ago. Maybe less than 10 years now. Maybe 10 years. I don't know. I'd have to look it up. But a baseball player by the name of Kurt Schilling started a game company.
That did not work out very well at all.
And he started the game company in Little, Rhode Island, which is where we're both from.
On taxpayer money, too.
On taxpayer money, which ended up becoming a big flop. The game, which I played the game, had a great concept, but just did not work out. And unfortunately, it was a massive failure. It damaged a lot of the situation in regards to that company. Obviously it went out of business. A lot of people obviously lost their jobs because of it. People didn't get paychecks because of it. Things like that can happen. So it's important to know that, you know, hopefully places can learn from their failures and survive those failures to be able to make something decent. And Amazon definitely has the background to do it. But yeah, we're gonna move on to something a little bit more fun now.
Oh, this is pretty cool that you found this.
As I always look around for like silly stuff to talk about, and I went over this 20 random fighting games on Ranker, and anyone who goes to look at stupid lists probably go to Ranker and like to play them in. I was actually kind of surprised about how many of these games I've actually played, but this list is called the 20 random fighting games we completely forgot existed. And to be honest with you, most of them weren't even in my mind until I saw them again and said, oh my god, I can't believe I remember this. So let's start at number 1. We'll ask each other if we've played it, and stop eating on the podcast because I can hear you crunching and you're annoying people. You're annoying people. My god.
What? I like blueberries. Give me a break, Joe. Jesus.
I like blueberries too. I just created a blueberry enclosure, so it's gonna be awesome.
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah, I'll show you guys when on my
like in
Facebook.
your yard or something, or
yeah, because I have blueberry bushes in my yard.
Well, expect me to be raiding your blueberry bushes now.
You won't be able to because I made an enclosure for it. So tough shit.
Oh, okay.
All right, so
I like where you're headed with this. So you're gonna go through the list, and then we're gonna answer whether or not we played it.
Yeah. So we're gonna go through each list, each game on the list, and we're just gonna see if we played it or not.
Okay.
So number 1 on the list is Primal Rage. For those who don't remember or don't know about Primal Rage, it was a game that was released in the 90s, and it was basically dragons and, well, not really dragons, but more dinosaurs and monsters fighting each other in a very like claymatic type
a lot of Easter
graphics.
Eggs apparently too, like little families in the
yeah,
in
exactly.
the photos. Oh man. So Primal Rage I have actually played. So I think that's maybe why this is number 1 on the list, because it's probably the
I think so.
I
think that as we go lower on the list, it's going to become more obscure. Yeah. But definitely played Primal Rage.
You know what this reminds me of? And I feel like this game might have been kind of based off of it, because I think Primal Rage came out first, obviously. Killer Instinct. So do you know what Killer Instinct is?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's a very...
I own it.
Oh, you do have it. Okay. Yeah, so that's like a really popular fighting game, and this reminds me of it with the types of characters that are in the game.
Yeah. Number 2, Clay Fighter. So Clay Fighter was a game that was basically a parody. I think in my guesstimate, there was probably more about something where Clay Fighter was really kind of where came out around the time of Celebrity Deathmatch and stuff like that, where it was all claymation and stuff like all that. So, and they actually had 2 games that came out after it that were sequels, which one of them actually had Earthworm Jim as one of the fighters.
That's a throwback name. Where has he been? Has any new games been made for Earthworm Jim?
No, not to my knowledge, but I have played this game. How about you?
I have not, and it definitely has that Celebrity Deathmatch feel, which, by the way, rip Celebrity Deathmatch. That was an hysterical show when I was younger. Absolutely loved like crying laughter when I watched that show, and this definitely has that vibe. And there's a 1997 version, Clay Fighter 63 and 1/3. Like,
that's the one that had Earthworm Jim on it. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. So it definitely, with only 20,000 copies produced, so that's definitely a kind of a collectible game. I'm curious to see how much that goes for right now.
Agreed. So
Number
the next
3.
one on the list, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters. So basically, I'm going to say I probably have played this one because it seems familiar. And I know you and I talked about it and said, well, it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so everything kind of blends together. And there have been a few of them, but I'm going to say I've played this one. How about you?
Yeah, I kind of am going the same route as you, but like, does any TMNT game ever have any name other than TMNT? Like, I think any sub name or surname to those games just dissolves the second you buy the name. It's just, oh yeah, this is a TMNT game. I don't know the actual name of the game. I just know it's a TMNT game, and I've played all the TMNT games. Like, I have no clue what the names are. So I'm gonna go with like a 95% sure that I played this game. But yeah, all the TMNT games just blur together.
I'll be there at 95% sure. But this one, I'm 100% sure I played. Eternal Champions. So it was released in 1993, and it basically was a specific console release because, believe it or not, back in the early 90s, there were these places called arcades where people could go and play video games. Yes.
What? Did they was there something with quarters involved or something?
Yes, or tokens, depending on where you're going.
Wow. That seems like such a weird concept. I don't know where that came from.
I don't either. Now it's a concept where people swipe cards and get tickets to win prizes. So the game stood with finishing moves called overkills, which I remember.
Yep.
And it took places on different parts of the stage. So if you do look at the article, in the game picture here, what you would had to have done, and I remember this, you had to get the guy near the fan blade, and you could just basically get him into the fan blade, and he would get all chopped up. So that was what happened. And they had a sequel, which I don't remember playing, which was called Challenge from the Dark Side, and they had full motion video cutscenes of the kills. They called them Cinekills because it was a cinematic
really?
Kill. Yes. Yep.
So this is like a wannabe Mortal Kombat back in the day, huh?
Pretty much. Yes. Absolutely. 100% correct. Yes.
Yeah,
Did you play it?
I don't think so. Like it definitely seems familiar, but I don't think I played this. I would remember something that really like seems like Mortal Kombat. Like that would have been memorable for me. So yeah, I'm gonna go with a no here. So you got one up on me on Eternal Champions.
So here we go at number 5. I would call this one a Street Fighter ripoff. And,
oh yeah.
There'll be a couple
look
of
at
those.
the picture. Look at the picture of Jotaro. That literally looks exact. What the hell's that guy's name again?
M. Bison.
Yeah, General Bison. Like that literally is General Bison. Like that's the picture, just with a different name. Like what is going on
he's
here?
He's a little bit tougher, but he's more anime. This is more anime. Anyways, this is the first one I haven't played. It was hit arcades in 1998, and the original author of I guess it was a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure was a manga series. So, and then it was ported to Xbox Live Arcade and the PlayStation Network in 2012, but got delisted 2 years later. So it's probably not available.
Even Dio, the guy in this picture, Dio is his name. That even feels like a ripoff of Ryu being a 3-letter name, and it kind of looks like him. So it's like. Oh god, that's a little too much of a ripoff for my liking. It's weird that it's a manga though.
Yeah, so number 6. Now listen guys, this one's always been hard for me to pronounce, and I don't even know. I'm gonna say Ergies or Energies or something like that, but it's EHRGEIZ. God Bless the Ring. I have played this game. It is basically a game from Square, and before they were called Square Enix, and it came out in 1998, and you could play as Final Fantasy VII characters, which now, SJW, have you played this game since it had some of your favorite characters in it?
Okay, so when you first mentioned this to me, I was like, wait a second, what? And I wasn't sure, but I'm thinking back now, yes, I did actually play this, and I remember why I actually played this, because I did not hear about the game when it first came out, especially because the internet wasn't as much of a thing back then. What was a thing was the what the heck was it? Electronic Gaming Monthly, or one of those magazines. EGM? Yeah, I am 99.9% positive that the reason I played this game was I went to a CVS with one of my friends riding my bike, and rode down the street, went to a CVS, picked up the magazine off the rack, turned it around, looked at the demo disc inside the magazine, and went, oh my God, there's a fighting game with Final Fantasy. I'm grabbing this magazine. And then we went home and played it, and it was complete trash, and then we never played it again. But it was cool to play as Cloud and Sephiroth and stuff. Yeah, so I am pretty positive that I played this game because I do remember playing a fighting game now, and that's very clear in my mind that this was on a demo disc. So I'd be curious to see. I wonder if there's like a list of all the demo discs somewhere with all the games that were on them back then. Maybe. Could find that.
Number 7, Inuyasha, A Feudal Fairy Tale. I can tell you 100% did not play this game.
Okay. Oh. I did not either, and I'm very disappointed that I did not because I love Inuyasha. I love the anime. I am so disappointed that the card game for Inuyasha did not do well because that was a good card game as well. I think that had like maybe 4 sets before they discontinued it back in the day, and they have Inuyasha and Kagome here, and I'm really getting the nostalgic feels looking at the picture. So very disappointed I didn't play this game.
So the next game on the list, Dynasty Warriors. I have played this game, I believe.
Why is this on here? Yeah, why is this on here?
Because people don't remember it as a fighting game. Dynasty Warriors is really kind of been pushed out as more of a strategy game after the fact, I believe. So
yeah, I think I always, it's funny, every time I see a Dynasty Warriors come out, my first thought is actually, maybe just because we're old now, but my first thought is that it was a fighting game. Like, I think of it as a fighting game, and then I see the game release, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, no, this is the Dynasty Warriors that we all love and know right now as the strategy game.
Next on the list, Star Gladiator. I have played this game. Released in 1996. It was a Capcom game. It was their first 3D fighting game. So it was trying to distance itself from Street Fighter, which was basically a 2D game. And I played it, and it was all right. But I can tell you one of the main characters, Hayato Kazaki, became playable in Marvel vs. Capcom 2. And so there you go.
Yep, no go on me. No go on me. Have no idea what that game is.
Number 10, Power Instinct. I don't remember this, so I'm going to say no.
I don't remember this either. Is this an attempt to kind of pull off of Killer Instinct? When did the first Killer Instinct come out?
I don't remember. I want to say Killer Instinct was in the middle 90s because I believe it was a big game for Nintendo 64. I want to see Killer Instinct was a big Nintendo 64 game.
I'm Googling it right now. Like, it says 2003, but that's the Xbox version. Or, sorry, 2013. Yeah. All right, so 1994. So, what did this say? This says it came out in 1993? Yeah. So,
Power
this actually,
Instinct.
Maybe Killer Instinct ripped off Power Instinct. So,
I doubt that.
All right, interesting. Yeah, 1994.
All right, another game that I don't believe I played but looks oddly familiar is The Last Blade, released in 1997. It was a very interesting design and was very reminiscent of the SNK's popular franchise Samurai Showdown. So both games have been re-released on the PlayStation 4 because The Last Blade had a sequel called Last Blade 2.
That is a blue screen.
Just the background is a blue. He was probably doing his ultimate because you could see he was on Mac. His max is lowered, so maybe.
Okay, so the background isn't always blue, right?
Maybe. I don't know. I never played the game. I can't say. But you want to know what? You can get on your PlayStation 4 and go into the PlayStation store and see it because it's been re-released on. There you go.
Jesus.
All right, guys. Listen, we're really pumped about number 12. When we saw this on the list, we were like, wow, I never played it. I don't know if SJW has played it, but Warpath Jurassic Park. How about it?
I haven't played it, but I literally want to. This looks terrible, but I want to play it. Like, this looks so bad. Like, you just see this Triceratops jumping in the air with, like, I think it's like a raptor, maybe, or maybe even a T-Rex that's like ducking because I see the short arm, so I'm gonna go with the T-Rex. But like, this seems terrible. This seems like such a bad game. Why did this ever happen? Like, whose idea?
I think it happened because the game also lets players learn about the dinosaurs with their museum section.
So it's an educational game, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
I think, honestly, this is a perfect example of people trying to capitalize on a big name franchise just for the sake of it having the name in the title. So they literally put some dinosaurs in a fighting game, called it Jurassic Park, and said, let's just forget about this and see how much money it makes. Oh, God.
Next on the list, Next on the list,
God.
number 13, Fighting Vipers. I'm gonna go 85%. I believe I've played this. It was a Sega fighting game that was in the arcades in the 90s, and it also was on the Sega Saturn. And I want to say I'm pretty close to thinking I've played this one.
I did play
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, I think
I
so
did
too.
play this. Not exactly happy that I played this because it was not a great game, but yep, this was one of those games that just came and went and didn't end up really doing well. Apparently, this is also re-released on the Xbox Live Arcade and PlayStation Network.
Yeah. So let's go to another Street Fighter ripoff, Fighter's History. I don't believe I played this one. It was released in 1993. So basically, it had a weak point system, which was trying to be revolutionized to be able to get opponents stunned easily. And apparently, the developer was forced into a lawsuit after Capcom noticed some similarities between Fighter's History and Street Fighter 2. Capcom lost the lawsuit due to certain aspects being scenes affair, it says, which is probably some weird lawyer jargon for it's not as close as you think it is.
Well, I think I've actually heard that before. It's essentially there's a little bit of a difference. It's like for artwork, right? Or it's like if you make a picture online nowadays, as long as you edit it just slightly differently, it's not technically a copyright lawsuit. So yeah, that's and it's so funny too because you can see the picture and it actually looks exactly like Street Fighter. Like he's doing like a Hadouken and like he's ducking. You can see it coming out.
You can see this. You can see the similarities, but you can see distinct differences. So, for example, the person doing the Hadouken is actually putting his hands like this away, where with the Hadouken your hands are like this. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like there are subtle differences that are enough to say no thank you. And on top of it, the fireball is a reddish fire where the Hadouken is a bluish fire. So,
and hey, because this is an educational podcast, I did look up scenes affair, and scenes affair is a scene in a book or film which is almost so it's specifically for a book or film, that's what it is in law, which is almost obligatory for a book or film in that genre. In the US, it also refers to a principle in copyright law in which certain elements of a creative work are held to be not protected when they are mandated by or customary to the genre. So they must have argued that, listen, this is a fighting game. Of course it's going to be similar. It's a freaking fighting game. What do you want? Especially back then, you could only do so much with graphics and stuff. Like, how are you going to differentiate yourself that much from something like Street Fighter, which basically owned the genre back in the mid-90s?
Right.
So,
yeah. You would have to say if you were going to do that, maybe you would have to go after places like King of Fighters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think it's just because King of Fighters definitely didn't have too many projectiles. I think in my remembering of King of Fighters, it was very much hand-to-hand combat with some special moves that had power on the hands or whatever. But number 15, Tobal number 1. I don't remember this game, very similar to Virtual Fighter. So
I never played this either.
Yeah, I'm gonna say
it says,
no.
Aside from combat, the game had an intriguing quest mode which incorporated Square's beloved RPG elements. It looks like Square made a lot more goes at the fighting genre than I thought back in the 90s. A lot of these are Square titles that we've gone through on this list, so that's interesting.
Awesome. Number 16.
Oh my god.
Sonic the Fighters. I'm going to say no. I would have remembered this. Sonic was a big part of my childhood growing up, and I don't remember a fighting game. I remember Sonic Pinball, however. I was really into Sonic Pinball. If we're talking about other genres of a game series, Sonic Pinball was my jam, but not Sonic the Fighters. Sorry, Sonic. Didn't play this one. How about you,
So,
XPW?
oddly enough, a game that I always remember as the first game that I played on PlayStation. I don't think I don't think this Fighters game was on PlayStation. I think it was it Sega? What does this say? I forget. I don't even really remember what I played it on. All I know is that I did play it because the first game I ever played on PlayStation was Spyro. Okay, that came out in 1998, and this game was also a game that I played on that same day. It was at my aunt's house, so it's really the only reason I remember this game. She just happened to have Spyro and this random Sonic the Fighters game, which I played. And again, I think this is a game trying to just capitalize on Sonic. So they obviously never made any more Sonic. Was the 90s? The 90s just seems to be like that decade of let's just try to make everything into a fighting game and see how it works.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Well, let's face it. Arcades were still pretty big, and fighting games by far were your biggest quarter draw. If you were gonna make an arcade machine, you were gonna make a fighting game because you could get 2 people to play it at once, which means you were getting double the money in most cases. If you could make the draw happen, you could port it to consoles and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm not surprised that in the 90s we had a lot of fighting games prop up because, quite frankly, you could make some big money if you hit big. So next on the list, number 17, Evil Zone. I'm going to say a big fat no on here, but it was created by Yuke's, the developer of a lot of the WWE games. They came out with this game in 1999, and the game stood out for its story mode, which treated each character's story as an anime, interestingly enough.
Yeah, interesting to have a game that stands out for the story mode in 1999,
touch.
especially with the graphics the way they were back then. And again, RIP WWE, which we talked about a few streams back. I think, what was it? 2K21 is not coming out. Is that right? Or is it 20?
That's correct.
Yeah, 21.
21, yep.
Yeah.
Number 18, Asuka 120% Burning Fest. Released in 1994, it brought school clubs together for an annual martial arts tournament.
This is the
Did not play this.
This is the beginning. This is where it all started. This is where it all started back in 1994, having skimpy girls in skimpy outfits fighting.
Exactly.
This is where it all started.
Right.
Like the picture here is a girl that I don't even know what she's. It's like a one piece like gymnastic type attire.
Yeah, she's wearing gymnastics attire. 100% wearing gymnastics attire, and then you have a school
short skirt
getting hit in the face. But yeah, there you go.
This is the beginning. Mark it here on your calendars, boys and girls. This is the beginning back in 1994. Asuka 120% Burning Fest.
That's the best. And number 19 on the list, Rock'em Sock'em Robots Arena. As much as I want to say that I've played this, I have not.
Oh my god, out of all the games on this list, you didn't play Rock'em Sock'em Robots Arena. Joe.
But hold on a second. Hold on a second, because there needs to be something said here, because this is actually kind of amazing. So I was thinking about this game for the longest time and couldn't remember the name of it, and it's actually in the conversation of this right here. It says, while Thrill Kill was canceled, which is a game I wanted to bring up because at some point, because Thrill Kill was an amazing game, and even though it was canceled back in the day, I found a way to get that game. It got released. Like, it was crazy. I was able to get a copy of this game a long time ago. It was mediocre at best, but I wanted to play it because I love the whole idea of the fighting genre and then having a fatality or kill. And Thrill Kill was similar to that. So I can't believe that it's here because I couldn't remember the game, and I've always wanted to bring it up as an interesting thing because I found like a hack where they released the game and you could play it. But
was it on a demo or something?
No, I can't remember how it was given, but it would have been canceled. But you're able to get what was made of the game, and it was fun. It was way back in the day, though. So
wait, hold on. It's funny too because I Wikipedia'd Thrill Kill, and so do you know why it was like canceled?
Because of how hardcore it was, or something, right?
Well, yeah, but I got to read this because this is funny. This one paragraph alone. While the technical feat of allowing 4 players to fight simultaneously in the same room was to be a major selling point, this was overshadowed by the controversy surrounding the game's depictions of violence and sexual content. Examples of this content include BDSM and how do you pronounce that? Fetishistic, I didn't even know that was a word, costumes and acts, limb dismemberment, which is Mortal Kombat, so I don't think that's the reason. And violent special moves with suggestive this is the best part. With suggestive names. Dude, I can't even read this. So these are the moves in the fighting game. Bitch slap, swallow this, and going down. The Thrill Kill notably received the rare adults only AO rating from the Entertainment Software Rating Board. This was the first game to receive such a rating for this violent content. All prior AO ratings had been for sexual content. Wow, so there's some video game history for you right there that you will not find anywhere else. Oh my God, I'm like crying, laughing. Who thinks to make a game with those names for moves? Like what?
That's the best. That's why. I was all in. And finally, number 20, Destrega, released in 1998. Implemented a rock, paper, scissors style gameplay, which means you can cancel your opponent's moves or accidentally strengthen them. The game also allowed players to use environments to their advantage. In 2011, the game was released on the PlayStation Network. I don't remember playing this game. I'm going to say no.
How do you implement a rock, paper, scissors style? This means players can cancel their opponent's moves or accidentally... Oh, okay, I see. So this is... Ooh, okay, so that's interesting because this is a concept that's implemented in a lot of fighting games nowadays too. But I never played this either. So it was re-released on the PlayStation Network in 2011.
So there you go, guys. There is the top 20 games you may not have heard of or played or even remembered, but it looks like we've played a good amount of them. So there you go.
I think we're about even. Maybe like 6 of them that we both played out of the 20.
We're pretty close
right,
with each other. I think I probably had like 1 or 2 up on you. But
I think so, yeah.
But now, guys, it's probably time for your most favorite part of this podcast.
I wanted to do it this time.
Okay. Well, you did a mediocre job.
Come on. Come on. Oh, okay. Well, I get the golf clap. It's fine.
So we are looking to put some type of music or some type of fun stuff in to these as kind of like in post. So Ruffhouse deals, guys. Ruffhouse deals.
Oh yeah.
So
what do we got, Ruffhouse?
Well,
what do we got?
We've got Epic Games Store is giving away the pre-sequel and Borderlands 2. So Borderlands the pre-sequel and Borderlands 2 is comboed together in the Handsome Jack collection, which will be available until, I believe, June 6th. So guys, all you have to do is download the Epic Games launcher, and June 4th, June 4th it will be available. And this podcast comes out on June 1st, so if you listen to it right away, you have a couple of days. It is currently going for $59.80 on Steam right now, so it is almost a $60 game. You get this for free. You get 2 games in one. You get the pre-sequel, and you get Borderlands 2. So there you go. I've already gotten it. You got to get it now too on the Epic Games Store.
Dude, always good with the deals, man. And let's go ahead and just, do you want to mention last week's deal on the missing episode? Because they do mention in the article that you found that it's replacing last week's deal.
Yes, unfortunately, guys, I am sorry that my podcast audio did not record properly, but Sid Meier's Civilization 6 was free. And
it's so disappointing. That was like one of the best deals I think that was out there from all the episodes we've done so far. I picked it up. I know you picked it up.
Yep.
I know Ed picked it up.
Yep.
So all of our friends definitely grabbed it. So hopefully you guys peruse the internet and found that yourselves as well.
So now let us get into the weekly releases.
Z Games. All right, let's pull these bad boys up here. So first up, we got Little Nightmares. Little Nightmares. Guys, if you guys were wondering, just in case you really wanted it for Stadia, it's coming out June 1st for Stadia. It's been out on Steam since 2017. Immerse yourself in Little Nightmares, a dark, whimsical tale that will confront you with your childhood fears, help 6 escape the maw, a vast, mysterious vessel inhabited by corrupted souls looking for their next meal. Like I keep saying every week, I feel like there's a lot of these horror-esque type games that.
And I own that one on the Xbox, so I've played it. It's good.
Really? Okay.
It's fun.
Not on the Stadia, Joe? Why wouldn't you have it on Stadia?
It's not coming out until June 1st, so I don't know.
Oh God! All right, then we have. Did you get access to the beta for Valorant?
I did not.
Oh, all right. It's big. It's here. It's here to stay. Riot has just been on a tear with all of their games. It's a really good game that looks like it's going to compete directly with CSGO, which is a very big task and big undertaking. If anybody hasn't played this game is great. I'm not the best at, or I just don't play these games a lot, CSGO. Definitely not as competitive as pro players or anything that would be at this game. But, oh my God, is this great. It's a very good game. It's going to come out officially for June 2nd, even though it doesn't really feel like it's anything different than the beta. So
what is this? So it's just first-person shooter?
Yeah, so it's first-person shooter. Like, this is going to be the next generation CSGO.
5-on-5.
Like it's a first-person shooter. You got 5-on-5 with, like, a bomb or something that you have to defuse. And basically, the big difference is that there are special abilities in the game that you can also buy. Like, CSGO, you go into the beginning and you buy your guns and stuff and your loadout.
Yep. So
same deal with this.
So why don't you, just for our listeners, what can you just say what CSGO means? So that people know, because I doubt people
catch.
know.
So CSGO, no, that is a good point. So CSGO is probably the biggest 5v5 shooter right now, tactical shooter. It stands for Counter-Strike Global Offensive. And honestly, there's a lot of, God, I could go into that. There's a lot of history about why there's not another Global Offensive that's come out, and all the past Counter-Strikes and stuff like that, and the creator and all that. But it's been at the top of its genre for so long. It has millions of viewers all the time on Twitch, on Steam, millions of players, I should say. And this game will compete with it. Valorant is incredible. It's great. It's clean. And then, like I said, it does add that little bit of extra, having the special abilities. Like, you could throw one of the guys I was playing with, you could throw a drone out, and the drone flies, and you could shoot people a couple times. So some people, they could throw a firewall up, So it's not ridiculous abilities to where it seems like super fantastical, but just enough to give you that little bit of extra. So that comes out finally on June 2nd for PC officially. Sea of Thieves is another good one that has gotten a lot of good feedback. At least from when I was seeing people play it on Steam originally during beta. There was a lot of glitches, it seemed like, for the game, some stuff I was reading, but Sea of Thieves offers the essential pirate experience, from sailing and fighting to exploring and looting, everything you need to live the pirate life and become a legend in your own right. With no set roles, you have complete freedom to approach the world and other players however you choose. It's kind of like an MMO for pirates.
Yep.
Pretty
and if
cool.
you have an Xbox and you have your Xbox Game Pass, you already had this game and you've had it for a while.
Yep.
So it's just being released now on the Steam network, it looks like, in PC. So.
Good old Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 3 comes out
pass.
for everything on June 4. Which,
pass.
Say that again?
Pass.
Oh yeah. I love to hate on Fortnite.
June 4th. June 4th. Welcome everyone who's listening to this podcast to play Fortnite. Next.
Pro Cycling Manager 2020. They really have a game for everything. Become the manager of a cycling team and take them to the top. Like, who thinks to make this game? You will need to manage finances and recruitment, plan your training, implement your strategy, and new for this edition, look after your cyclists and their morale. So you have to manage your group's morale. This comes out for, PC, PS4, and Xbox One on June 4th. Tour de France. We're on a cycling bend here. 2020. That comes out for PS4 and Xbox One on June 4th as well. Compete against the Peloton in all 21 stages of the Tour de France in the official game. To wear the yellow jersey, you will need to take risks, attack, sprint, and perfect your race tactics. Challenge your friends in downhill or sprint challenge mode. What is it with this freaking Peloton thing? I feel like everywhere I go, everybody's all uppity about Pelotons now. Are you getting a Peloton? Do you have a Peloton?
Does it look like I work out?
Okay, never mind.
So the answer to that is no. And even if I did buy a Peloton, it would probably be sitting there, and the people
not being used,
and the people who are like, "Hey, listen, this guy who's ranked 1 millionth in the world right now, where is he going? What's up with him? Why is he only taking Why is he taking 0.01 miles on his Peloton? He registered back in like 2020, and now it's 2025, and he hasn't gone past a quarter mile. What's going on with this guy?
51 worldwide games for the Switch, which I have not. It's actually, I think full name is Clubhouse Games 51 Worldwide Classics. It's got stuff like checkers and all that, like random cool board games that you played when you were younger. It comes out June 5th for the Switch. It's $40. Looks, I mean, if you're just looking for something to kill the time, if you're still, kind of on quarantine or anything like that for the Rona, this might be something that's pretty cool to pick up. 51 tabletop games. Now, this I'm excited for and might actually pick up. Command & Conquer Remastered Collection for the PC. Comes out June 5th on Steam. Looks clean. Looks very clean compared to the original game. Obviously the graphics back then were something to be desired, and God, this game brings back the memories. The one of the original RTS experiences.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm looking at it right now on the website, and it definitely looks much better than the original.
It's not all pixelated and stuff.
You can actually there's a teaser where you can slide between the video and you can see what it looks like now versus what it looked like before. So that's cool.
The video, are those the same people from the cutscenes?
I think so, yeah, but I could be wrong.
I want to say they're the same. It'd be
I wouldn't have remastered those. That would have been the only thing I would have kept.
Yeah, right. Those cutscenes. So that's coming out. Definitely something to consider picking up. And finally, The Outer Worlds on Switch, which is something that I think has already been out for a few different things. You played that, right?
Yeah, Outer Worlds has been like forever.
Yeah, very great game from what Joe has told me. Honestly, I haven't played it, but Joe has played a lot of it. I've heard a lot of good feedback as you explore a space colony and Outer Worlds. The character you decide to become will determine how the player-driven story unfolds in this new sci-fi. They're fun.
Yeah, and if you have, once again, Xbox Live and Game Pass and all that stuff, you can
I think it's delayed on Switch.
but to have the power that So
that is all.
That is it, guys. It is time to say our goodbyes. We just got over a little bit of an hour, so not too shabby. We want to thank everyone for listening. As always, give us the review, give us the 5 stars, give us the subscribe, all that fun stuff. Check out Shit Just Works YouTube channel to see about entering in for the giveaway. Hopefully, we'll be able to give it away next week. Give it away now. So give it away.
Oh, I was gonna just say that. Give it away now. I wanted to say it earlier too.
So there we go, guys. Thank you once again for listening to us, and we will see you next week. Peace out.
Peace out, everybody.